I want to point something out to you, another nail in the coffin of freedom of speech, and this time being pushed by GB News. I'm Graniopteryx. So many of you will be aware of the gossip that's been surrounding the illness of the Princess of Wales. And this is a discussion about it to do with the wilder speculations that have been circulating on the internet. Okay, here we are.
East. Lovely to see you this morning. Thank you so much for joining me. First of all, what was your reaction to the Princess of Wales's cancer announcement on Friday afternoon?
Good morning. Well, of course, it's really awful to hear that news, very distressing news, but I think seeing that video really brought home, actually, that Her Highness is quite an incredible person. She's really sent out a message of hope and optimism, and I know that for people facing similar circumstances, it really must have been a message that was very, very important for them as well, knowing that, as she put it, they are not alone.
As you know, she's faced a lot of criticism on social media, particularly. There's been a lot of trolling. First of all, should she be left alone? And second of all, what would Labour do to clean up the internet, particularly when it comes to anonymous trolls?
Okay, now, the interviewer is feeding the lines, as they frequently do now. That isn't a question she's asking. It's an opportunity for this woman to give party policy. And the assumption is that trolls have to be controlled and that it is necessary for this to be shut down. So this sort of speculation is to be shut down in one way or another. You see, and that's where you have the problems, because when you start with a little bit, it creeps on into a little bit more and a little bit more. It's called salami tactics, isn't it? But this is a GB News interviewer pushing this idea that, oh yes, this is terrible, what's happened to the Princess of Wales. We've got to stop it, without thinking of the consequences of what that would do. It's like the hate crime bill, isn't it? Everyone thinks it's bad that people hate other people, but where do you stop the law? Where does private life start? And in Scotland, of course, it doesn't even start across your own dining table. Right, let's just carry on with this.
Well, there's been some really lurid speculation about Her Highness, of course, on social media. It must have been extremely distressing to her at such an incredibly difficult time. It would be difficult for anyone, but going through something like that in the full glaze of publicity.
She is talking nonsense now. I mean, it's sensible, but it's just burble, while she thinks of what she's going to say next. It's a technique you have to develop if you're a politician.
It must be incredibly hard. We do think that more needs to be done, particularly when it comes to the kind of online abuse that we see so repeatedly directed. A lot of the
Now, you see, who can argue that online abuse is bad? But the problem is, as I say, where do you stop legislating?
I'm actually towards women, towards ethnic minority people. We need to be getting more of a grip on this. We think the internet companies...
No, we don't. It's bad, but there isn't a clear line where you can say, right, this far and no further. It will just keep on creeping. But, of course, the Labour Party, any socialist party, is all for controlling every aspect of everyone's life. We see that going on in Scotland, don't we?
Need to be doing more. They're highly profitable companies. They do need to be getting more of a grip on this.
Yeah, do you think...
Okay, so they, these rich companies, again, the Labour idea that the rich are somehow to blame for everything. Let's carry on.
Actually, people shouldn't be allowed to be posting on websites like X if they're anonymous.
You can help my channel by clicking like, by subscribing, by clicking the notification bell, and by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels are in the description, also links to donation sites, but really the best way you can help me is simply by clicking like. Thank you. Yes, so they're saying you have to not be anonymous on something like X. This woman here, GBNews, freedom of speech, and she is coming up with this idea, well, if you're innocent, you have nothing to hide. There are many reasons for you not to be known on the internet. And many of the people I correspond with who write in, they have nom de plume. I don't object to that.
Well, that question has come up, of course, repeatedly, but you also see people who are very happy to be identified, who've been propagating, in some cases, very extreme views, what would actually contravene UK law, and we've not seen quick enough action being taken by X. In fact, Yvette Cooper, who's Labour's Shadow Home Secretary, she revealed just a few days ago many different messages that were posted on X that would have broken, in fact, our hate crime and extremism provisions within the UK in action.
Well, that's because hate crime laws are not enforceable in most cases unless you pick a sacrificial lamb, for instance, like Tommy Robinson or something like that, or that guy who posted stickers. It's highly selective. You find socialist worker stuff posted all over lampposts in London, all those sort of Free Palestine ones, many of which contain genocidal tropes. And so it's all very highly subjective and highly selective. And it really isn't enforceable. And most people realise the law is becoming unenforceable, except when the law wants to make it enforceable, which means that people are losing respect for the law now. They know it's not for everybody.
Taken. So, really these companies have got to get far more of a grip, and we've been calling on government.
There she's going on about the companies again.
To push them to do so as well.
And yeah, the government should deal with it. The government should deal with everything, shouldn't it? The fact that a Labour shadow cabinet minister is saying this stuff is not a surprise. It's to be expected. What I really found most disturbing was this GBNews interviewer pushing that same agenda. And basically what they're saying is, do you remember there was a famous instance of an American, this was years ago now, an American TV presenter, a news presenter, saying something like, people shouldn't be going to other sources for their media. That's for their information. That's our job. That's what she said. And this person is backing that up now. Look, Andrew Bridgen, the MP who used to be in the Conservative Party and had to leave because he kept pushing the idea of the not being all that healthy and bringing bringing figures to prove his case. He was regarded as a troll, wasn't he? Sometimes trolling is true. It just doesn't happen to fit the agenda. And I was really shocked by her. And she was obviously feeding a line that expected a certain answer from this shadow cabinet minister, Annalise Dodds. Shocking. GBNews, you should be really ashamed of yourselves. You're there to talk about the news, not to feed lines to, plutocrats. Or would-be plutocrats, anyway. OK, well, yeah, that's another happy delusion burst. I thought GBNews would be better than that. And turns out, no better than the BBC. Oh, dear. OK, till next time. why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.